Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Rome Floyd Chamber podcast. I'm Roger Manus with Rome Business Radio. We are broadcasting from the Hardy Realty Studios in downtown Rome, Georgia. As mentioned, I'm Roger with Rome Business Radio, and I am joined by the head honcho of the Rome Floyd Chamber. Hi, Pam.
I came today. Yes, I am Pam Power-Smith with the Rome Floyd Chamber, and then I made Carly come because I feel like I can't do a podcast without her. And then we have our special guest today. We have Lisa Smith with our tourism department, and I'm excited for everybody to hear what she has to share with us today.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Welcome to the Hardy Realty Studios.
This is lovely.
Downtown Broad. I mean, we look right out the windows. People can look in and see us. It's like being on Good Morning America or the Today Show.
I get distracted. Have I ever told you that sometimes when people I know are
I know, I was just watching the dog.
Yeah.
And it is easy to know a lot of people that walk by in this town, and especially in y'all's jobs with the chamber, y'all talk to everybody, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll talk to anybody.
Well, and you work with everybody.
Same for Lisa.
Yeah.
She'll talk to anybody and work with anybody too.
So what is your job title, Lisa?
The title is Executive Director of the Office of Tourism.
And that means a lot. Sounds very impressive.
It's 27 years of learning.
That's crazy. I guess I didn't know. It had been a long time.
27 years here?
27 years as the tourism director.
Wow.
Exactly. Wow, that's what I say every morning. And I'm still loving
going.
it. And I'm still loving it.
Yeah, I actually did some Googling to prepare because, I'm not totally unprepared. And I saw articles like 2010, 2000, and I'm like, oh, okay. So we'll just, that's a long thing to be in, for anybody to be in any one career. That's congratulations to you.
Yeah.
So obviously it's a labor of love.
It is. And I think it's a labor of love for people, for service from the heart, the greater good. It's a much bigger picture than just a job. And the team that makes that possible is also the reason that we are successful. And it's all about the team, but it's all about every single person on that team loves this place.
Well, there you go. Very well said.
Yeah.
So your job is to entice visitors by making them aware of all the great things Rome has to offer.
That's right. I share the tourism gospel, and
You spread it from Rome to Athens.
I do. Our goal is a destination marketing organization. It's a DMO. We basically take everything that we can about Rome Floyd County, Northwest Georgia, and we send it out to the world. And I'm not using world lightly. I mean it seriously. So our marketing goes worldwide about how unbelievably quaint and beautiful and southern and charming the Georgia's Rome is.
It's just like a great big y'all come see us.
Yes. It's just a big old hug from your grandmama right here.
So what are your top selling points? What's the first thing that, I mean, you had a long list, but like, what are the highlights when you're pitching Rome globally or across the country?
It's first off knowing your audience of who you're pitching.
There we go.
So that's very important. So we are a full service bureau. So we have all of the different items under us. We have sports marketing. We have leisure tour travel. We have business travel as far as conventions, meetings, group. And then, of course, you have relocations. We are also the camera-ready film office, as well as we have welcome for locals alike, as well as visitors. We have, of course, the local welcome centers. So it just depends on what we're selling. But, when you're asked what's the main attractions, it's obviously the downtown area, Berry College, because it is the largest contiguous college campus in the world. And then you have to look at your other amenities. And what would those be that make us stand apart? It's our rivers. It's our recreation. It is the fact that we are very much located in between three large cities, but we are a getaway.
Wow. Sounds like she's done this before.
Yeah, I think so.
I practiced this morning in front of the mirror.
So on what levels, like you mentioned, relocation, people moving here for work, and what levels of those various divisions, sports and all, do you work most with the chamber on? Is it as jobs get created and enticing people to move here? Or,
it's been really fun because there's, we have Pam that's new at the chamber. And then we have Missy Kendrick, who's new at the Economic Development Office. So we have really started working together very closely a lot on projects, whether it is relocation or the big gigantic map, because believe it or not, folks, people still want a foldable map.
Yes, they do. People come into the chamber all the time. It's like, I need an actual map to get around. And I'm like, okay, let me get what tourism sent over to us.
And it's quality of life. And that's what, whether it's Pam and Pam's staff or it's us, it's what are we promoting for quality of life? And that's something that we can easily work together on.
So I just kind of want to go down those in a little bit more depth, okay? Because I'm a sports guy. So
Okay.
you mentioned sports first. So
Yeah.
like the Rome Braves and tennis and things like that. So all of these are part of what
Yes.
you package together to try to do. Are you trying to lure people or lure events?
Both.
Okay. And
So-
how do you go about that?
So it's called bids.
Yeah.
And the bidding process, of course, is sometimes expensive. Sometimes it's basically showing out. We are bidding against our competition. And so we try to make our package the best it can be. And my goal is always never do a bid by bid standards. You do a bid over and above. What else can we do? What else can we show off? What else can we be? What's the hook? What's the lure to get them here? Because a lot of folks will throw, well, it's not near an interstate. Thank goodness. We're not near an interstate, and there's some blessings in disguise for that.
Yeah.
So what else is there? Well, guess what? You can go and you can play tennis at one facility. You're not driving all over Kingdom Come and possibly missing your match. So we do have the largest hard court surface facility in the nation. That's the Rome Tennis Center, and it has been bigger success than our wildest imagination. And then you look at our parks and rec facilities. Unbelievable what we have here. The fields that we have, the Alto Park, the Riverview Sports Complex, Barron Stadium, which is a city-owned facility, of course, managed by the city school system. So you start putting all of that together, and then you look at Barry and Shorter, and oh yeah, folks, we're a college town. You have all these facilities as well with Georgia Highlands. So it's so much to sell. So Ann Hortman, who is over the sports division at our place, she goes out to conferences and says, okay, what's new? It may be lawnmower racing. It may be this new sport that I really can't even tell you what it is, but
Pickleball was new a couple years ago.
yeah, pickleball. So that's kind of where we were like, okay, this is the newest, hottest, fastest growing sport. Why are we not in the game? And it's just looking to see how we can compete and how we can get things. Of course, the pickleball facility downtown, at some point, I want to be able to claim that that's the largest pickleball facility in the nation as well.
That has really taken off, hasn't it?
It has. It's fun for everybody.
Yeah.
I think probably one of our most fun activities that we do with Emerge as our quality of life is we took the class too, and we took their high school class as well as their adult class.
Our leadership classes.
To actually play pickleball. And I heard that some of them got the bug, and they're actually down there playing. So
They drank the Kool-Aid.
They did, and the Kool-Aid's bright yellow. I love it. So it's a lot of fun. It's an easy sell. Rome is an easy sell.
Yeah.
We just have to know how to sell it.
And Lisa, are there any plans to do covered pickleball courts?
I would like to do that.
Okay.
Thankfully, I work with the Cliff Drysdale Management Group, which is our tennis management group, and we have them help us with thinking about capital and future. And so I would like to see us cover some. Interestingly, the indoor courts that we did at Rome Tennis Center at Barry, they have been having indoor pickleball tournaments there.
Oh, okay.
And so that's kind of fun. They temporarily stripe with painter's tape. And then they, of course, that's a bit labor and love right there. So I found out the other day that there's an invisible blacklight paint. And so we're thinking about, hey, okay, what else can we do? Like disco ball, disco tennis, disco pickleball. And they actually had something down there where they had to put the tape down, But we're thinking that may be a new thing for us as well.
That's awesome.
Takes me back to 1970s roller skating parties.
Yes,
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, hold my Coke, let me skate. Yeah, that's my song. Yeah, absolutely. Long, cool woman in a black dress. I totally hear it.
There was the Greenland Skating Center out Shorter Avenue in West Rome. I spent many birthday parties there with all my kids my age, all the friends my age, where everybody had their party at the roller rink.
Yeah,
and they would do the what's the ball called? The disco ball.
Disco ball. We're going to get one for the chamber right there in the lobby.
Oh, we should. Thanks for that idea, Lisa.
When you walk in, it's a party all the time. So when you're doing these bids, like just kind of the bread and butter, is it, okay, we have X number of hotel rooms, yes. We have X number of restaurants, and within walking distance, are all those key factors to... Sometimes it's, it depends on what the bid specs are. But of course, we have partners in this. So we don't just say, hey, there's 800 sellable rooms in Rome. The hotels also have to tell us what their price point is, what their mix is between kings and queens, what their, how many they're going to give us for that bid. And so it's a big process. And then, of course, we look at our partners in the Hospitality Association to say, what else can we do to sweeten the bid? Is that a gift for everybody who attends, which is not part of the bid? Or is that a meal? Or is it 2 meals? Is it a cocktail party? What is it exactly that would be an additional thing that would make somebody want to come to Rome?
And will you talk about some of the cool tennis tournaments you've had in the past couple of years, just since I've been here?
Mm-hmm. So because of our facility and because of the vision of the group, the steering committee, the fathers of tennis, we have been able to actually land pro tournaments, pro women's events, pro men's events, pro indoor events. And that's professional tennis players, where we're bringing those players here from all over the world. And then one that is close and near to Ann Hortman's heart as well as mine is wheelchair tennis. And we actually host wheelchair tennis as far as regional and U.S., and then we also have international wheelchair tennis. And that is amazing. And of course, all of those events are open to the public. We have all the ACC championships, men and ladies. We rotate between us and Cary, North Carolina. That's one of our competitors. Mobile, Alabama is the other one. And
so you're talking major conference.
Major conference.
Yeah.
We have Sunbelt coming. We have some really great collegiate play coming because of the connection of our general manager, which is Colt Gaston. He was a collegiate coach and well sought after collegiate coach. We're lucky to have him because he's also a local homegrown.
Came back home.
He's a homegrown, bringing his family back. So we've had some great success. We do a lot of youth level 1 tournaments, which if you're in the tennis world, that's the highest of the high for the 12-year-olds, 16 and under. So it's always something. Plus, there's something for locals. There's local league. There's ladder league. There's our Coosa Valley Tennis Association leagues. There's basically a workout things that they can do, as well as play tennis. We also want to promote that, you can come out there and use that as a walking trail. We have over, let me get this straight. I want to say it's 2.5 miles of paved surface out there that you can walk, and it's safe, you know, and we're dog friendly. So
you could heckle people that are playing tennis as you walk by.
And of course, it's the best view. There's a deck over the clubhouse, and that's one of the best views that you can see. And of course, now we have been graced with a hotel out there, so that has really helped with our rooming. So that's good. So sports is big. That's a big piece of when we look at the pie chart of our business, it's a big piece of business. Why? Because there's so many people involved. You don't go play a sport with just one person.
You've solitaire.
Unless it's solitaire.
Snoopy did it a lot when he played tennis. He just played by himself. But okay.
Typically, most things are, even if they're not team, it's a lot of folks travel. Track and field was just here. Nick Bridges, nod to him. So that's very huge. We have been able to manage to woo, and I do mean woo.
And this takes years too, doesn't it? Like people don't understand that this is a very, very long process. Like to bring this tennis center here, it was years in the making. So hats off to you guys for being able to get so much accomplished.
Well, thank you. Georgia High School, we have managed to woo them into Rome. And of course, they have been bringing their championships. They brought baseball to us. which was great. Just happened. They have track and field championships here, which just happened. So getting Georgia high school involved with us has been major.
Well, and some of those Corky Kell Classic preseason,
Yes.
first of the year football games, high school games are played here. Yeah.
And that will come again in August. It's the precursor to the football Friday night under the lights. We'll have also Georgia Elite will be back. And that was in the December, right after Christmas. And that's brought to us by Score Atlanta.
Right. Yeah. What is your busy season?
All the time.
All the time. There's not one specific, we're in the summer, so it's tourism season. Rome tourism, we're 365, 24/7.
That's why that makes why she's so great at her job is because there is never a slow season for her. So it always helps Rome.
When I got to my office the first time, they were like, we used to have downtime. Not while you're here. So it's okay.
Well, like I even just saw a couple walking by, like leisurely holding hands. They're obviously tourists, and every time I see something like that, I'm like, I want to go up to them. Yes, like I want to go up to them. What you doing? Just hanging out? You know?
What's your job?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by. Y'all come see us now.
You know, I tell you what's interesting is to see we have, obviously welcome sign-in books in the welcome centers. There's one downtown with the History Center, which we also have under our purview. And of course, there's one up on the hill on Jackson Hill. It's to see how many people are in the party, why they came, where they came from. And we have a lot of international guests here because they want to experience the real South. For everybody out there, I'm so sorry to tell you this, Atlanta is not the real South. So, I know I probably just crushed some dreams, but they want to experience what's real. Mm-hmm. And there is something about the people of Rome and Floyd County that are so welcoming. They are our ambassadors. I got to get them here. They do our job for us.
Well, you mentioned Atlanta. If you ask somebody for directions in Atlanta, they will include an interstate. But here, if you ask somebody from directions, they'll mention a restaurant or the DeSoto Theater. Or
I remember having to go to Georgia Council for the Arts. That was on Means Street. My first time because they were going to hear a grant that I had written. And so I stopped to ask an officer because I can't find it. I said, can you please tell me where Mean Street is? He goes, they're all mean. That's all I needed to know that day. I was scared enough as it was. Anyway, I digress.
That's a great pitch for their website.
Yeah.
For their tourism. So I kind of wanted to ask you about another one of your subheadings there. You mentioned films, and you've been in your position for such a long time. Obviously, that has grown tremendously. Way back when, I remember when like Harrison Ford did part of a movie here, The Mosquito Coast. Yeah. And then I know since then Barry and things like that. But like, how does your office work in conjunction with maybe even RIF and things like that to try to attract those type of events?
So being the marketing organization that we are, the destination marketing, we help to market everyone's events.
Yeah.
I will have to say that I'm very proud of our calendar. A lot of people put events on our calendar. And so that's where media pulls events from. But that helps to get our word out.
Okay.
And so we help RIF with their marketing. And anybody else, when Pam has something that she's doing or something's going on at the forum, whatever it is, if it's on our calendar, we push it out constantly.
So anything that is everything's part of the mission then. Everything that's already kind of going on.
Sure.
Let's just work together in tandem and make it bigger and better. And
because our goal is to market it. It's not necessarily create every festival.
Right.
It's not necessarily create every run, every walk, every fundraiser. It's to help spread the word. Because sometimes everybody that's doing a fundraiser or whatever may get so involved in the nuts and bolts or forget, oh my gosh, we didn't send it to the blah, blah media.
Yeah.
So we have a big Georgia media list. We have a big outside of Georgia media list, Alabama, Tennessee. We kind of know where our target markets are. We've done a lot of studies on where our people come from. And interestingly, 38.6%, which is the larger percentage of travelers, are out of the Atlanta area.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Well, it's a day trip.
Day trip,
Yeah.
and a night getaway.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. And very affordable. Very affordable to be here.
I know Roger just mentioned film. Will you go into a little bit more detail about that? I think Ann does a lot of that too, and how that process works when somebody wants to film something here.
We are one of the first camera ready liaisons for the state of Georgia in our state, and it's called Camera Ready. And what we do is we are the point person for when someone is looking to basically scout. And so we scout pretty much every single week. we don't touch every single film here. There's a lot of indies that come. There's a lot of reality that comes that they may not come through our office. There is a permitting that is part of our office, just like there's a standard operating procedure that's part of our office for a lot of events that happen, especially when they need public safety, public services. But we go out, they tell us what the lookbook is, they tell us what they're looking for, and it may be as tiny as we need a wooden train car on an abandoned rail.
That's pretty specific.
Yeah, this is a big county, guys. So we, start.
Do they tell you what it's for, like a Clint Eastwood shootout or something?
Sometimes they'll tell us. And a lot of working titles. A lot of times we don't get to know what we're looking for. We just know or what film is. So we go out and start doing that. If they like what we find, then they actually plan to be here. So there's another amount of time that it takes to do this with scouting. And then if they like it and they can sell it, then it comes back, and now we've got the artistic team that just came in, and now they're going to see how it's going to work. And our goal always with Ann and I, because we both scout, is how many pieces of that film can we put to get them here? Because they're not going to come for one scene unless it's so amazing, like Berry College campus.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's how much can we group together to get. So I will tell you, we work a lot. Some comes to fruition and some doesn't, but that's okay because we've created another relationship. Mm-hmm. And the guys that scout and girls and ladies and men, most of them are people that we've known for years. And hey, Corey told me about you have this. Can I come see it? So it's all relationships. And that's why it's so important that we just don't go, okay, here's some pictures, let us know if we can help you. It's all about, hey, how's your mom? How's the family? So it's been years. Ann's been at the office for 16 years, and of course me for 27. Film was going on in Rome long before Georgia ever had an incentive, and back in Diana Shatty's days, that was when Mosquito Coast was here. So it's been going on a long time. We don't land them all, but that's okay. We still make relations.
Well, and when the ones that are landed are cool, like the Stranger Things house or anything at Berry. The opening of the Black Widow movie where they drive right by Barron Stadium.
8 minutes of Rome. 8 minutes.
Was it really 8 minutes?
8 minutes of Rome.
Or the Mule. That was a Clint Eastwood movie.
Yeah.
That was a pretty new one.
I wish we could have kept the sunflowers. I thought they were gorgeous out there on the bypass.
But he didn't shoot anybody in that, did he?
I think
I'm old school Clint. Yeah. I'm Dirty Harry Clint. Yeah.
Denzel Washington coming back with his kids' films, that was really exciting and spoke highly of being in Rome when he filmed here at Berry. So, and getting Tyler Perry to come out of his box and actually come and shoot that was awesome. We have scouted Tyler Perry and done a lot of exteriors for them. For some of their shows, but to actually have him go on location was a major to do.
And sometimes it's a complete transformation of what we see, but by the time the movie gets done, there's dirt roads instead of paved roads.
I know, Kindred, yeah. Georgia Lotto shooting a commercial here was a big deal. They used our Cave Spring. Now, you wouldn't know it because you think they're in Egypt, but that's okay. I knew it. So they're in Cave Spring, Georgia. So.
Well, and to your mission, when Denzel Washington speaks highly of his experience in Rome, that's a selling point. Hey, Denzel liked us.
Yeah. And the fact that his kids came back to produce there. Yeah. It's really awesome.
And you mentioned Cave Spring, so that's in Floyd County. So y'all promote that.
We do.
For tourism also, which they have their own special amenities in Cave Spring.
Cave Spring is so unique, and it's such an easy sell. And I am amazed at how many festivals they do.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing for they can become the festival city.
It's just
pick a festival, any festival, you can go to it in Cave Spring.
And truly, because I live out there, you cannot go down the road and not have all kind of plates going past you, because it is a right in the middle of the thoroughfare from Cedartown, Rockmart, Alabama, Holland, wherever it is, you're trying to go. You pass through Cave Spring.
Right.
It's absolutely enchanting there.
Yeah.
Before we get to a couple of your other subheadings, I wanted to circle back around. I forgot to ask one sports question. And of course, Pam is here having just, fired the first fastball to open up a Rome Braves game recently.
Oh, did you see it, Roger? It was amazing.
Did you throw like a real girl, or did you throw?
I threw overhanded.
Whoa, yay.
It was
proud of
They
you.
tried to recruit me when I left.
Yeah,
So.
It was.
Not today, David.
But I guess they're their 20th year here,
Yes.
right? So is the Rome Braves a little tick box on your, here's what we have to offer for visitors to our community?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I tell you, it always makes my heart feel so good when I see the vans pull up and the 6 generations fall out of them.
Right.
And they are following the trail. And they're here because, and this is the same family that's been coming for 20 years. And I'm like, oh, they're here. I mean, it's like a homecoming when they get there. And they follow the trail. They do all the single A teams, and Rome is one of their stops.
Yeah.
But it's family fun. It's inexpensive to go. You're right there. It's not 20,000 people. You see the players. You watch their faces. My greats, nephews, and niece absolutely adore going to the games.
Yeah, there's nothing like going to the ballpark. It's a unique experience, but a minor league ballpark is special.
We are very lucky to have that. And I will tell you, David Lane, we have really enjoyed getting to know him and his wife.
Okay, I can't even read my own handwriting here. We've talked about sports and films and relocation. What were the other things you mentioned off the top?
Well, convention and meeting business, which we were about to get back full throttle in because of getting our convention center back open. Very exciting.
You probably need that.
Yeah, it's kind of been a missing link. So you can tell it when you look at our pie chart. Pam looked at our annual report, and when it's not there, it's not there.
Yeah.
And that's exciting because that puts a lot of people concentrated in the downtown area at one time. And it is also an events facility. And so it's going to be very wonderful. We have just hired a new sales marketing person for the spaces to bring back in that kind of group business. So we'll be very excited to see that.
Is there a busy convention time of year, or is that kind of
it's really just
industry driven?
It's industry driven. For instance, DNR is looking to come in February. Well, you would think that they would want to come when it's pretty, and that's their crazy time out there with fisheries. So they're going to come in the winter. But then you look at Jehovah's Witness, and of course that's a family oriented thing. So they come in the summer. It's 8 weekends in the summer, which we have missed. Hopefully we'll get them back next year. And that's a multi-year contract with them.
And so from that perspective, we might not even know that a convention is here, but they're eating restaurants, they're staying in their hotels, right?
Yeah, it's kind of hard because tennis is tennis. You got a skirt on, you got visor on. It's pretty easy to tell those folks.
Yeah.
And it's easy to tell the little ball kids, when they've got their little baseball outfits or their, soccer pants. But the basic traveler that's here for a convention is just the fact that they're kind of looking around doing this.
looking at our skyscrapers.
Yeah, and looking at the wayfinding and trying to figure out where they are, or
or they're wearing a name tag.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good giveaway. Yeah. So that's exciting. It'll be exciting to see that pick up in our business. With that being said, it's very exciting to see the possibility of more hotel properties coming on, and we need them. I'll tell you a story on my daddy. He's not around to defend himself. He looked at me one day. He lived out on Chulia Road. And he goes, "Honey, I just don't know why we have all these hotels." I'm like, "Daddy, thank goodness I can worry about it and you don't need to." So we do have some.
So he was anti-tourism.
I don't really think he ever knew what I did.
Or he was like, "Okay, come to town for a day and get out again."
Yeah. They're blocking the Walmart drive-in. Get out of my way. So we need more hotels. I'd love to see more boutique hotels come in, but that will also help us because you do have to guarantee X number of rooms and that's a bid too. Mm-hmm. It's our whole life is revolving around bidding. And to your point, it is a process, and it is sometimes, it's kind of scary. I don't really work for today. I'm working now 2, 3, 4, 5 years out, and I have a 5-year calendar to prove it. Because I can't land anything in a week or a month. Nobody decides to go to a destination and take their whole team or their corporate or whatever in that short of a period of time, unless they've been kicked out of somewhere else and they have no choice. But typically it's a long bidding process. Well, yeah. And, Pam shared with me as we were walking, we're not a fit for everyone. We would love for Pam to be able to bid and bring the Chamber of Commerce meeting here. We're not big enough. Our facilities, our meeting spaces, our breakouts, even though we have the grand jewel, the forum, it's still not enough.
So that's just not meant to be right now, but that's why you concentrate on everything else that that is in our wheelhouse.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so now that you kind of went back to hotels, talk about the financial piece and how you're funded. A lot of people don't understand what a lodging tax is. So if you want to talk about that.
Well, my favorite's when I go to speak to all the groups here in town and I tell them, about tourism and why it's good and it's new money in town. And they're like, well, what are y'all doing with my tax dollars? And my answer is, if you're not sleeping in our hotels,
I don't have your money.
So when you travel, there's always an additional amenities fees that are put on a room. We happen to be in the state of Georgia where we have a $5 per night for the DOT. Unfortunately, we cannot tell them, hey, we paid this much into it. Can you please bring that money back to our streets? But
wish you could, though.
I know, but we still pay it. And then we have hotel motel tax. In the city, it is 8% on a room per night. In the county, it's 6% on a room per night. And of course, most of the major flags are here in the city. And then you have the sales tax. So how we are funded is purely by hotel motel tax. So our saying is heads and beds. That's how we're funded, heads and beds. And thankfully, because of great legislation, because of fabulous attorneys, Andy Davis, Brinson Askew and Barry, we were able to start collecting on the Expedias of the world rooms that they sell, which was a major long fight, if y'all remember that one, to actually collect that hotel motel tax and have it remitted. And it's not a perfect remittal system, but at least it's getting remitted. And then to go and fight with the legislation to pass Airbnb tax, that they are also collecting and remitting hotel motel tax. And that was major. What happened? Of course, our budget saw an immediate increase in the county as well as the city.
Yeah.
Because when you sit around and look at it, there's like 150 available Airbnbs, albeit it may be a bedroom in somebody's house or it may be a cottage out back. But there are 150 roughly listed for the county. So thank you for that question, Pam.
Is that the, for lack of a better word, because you kind of touched on it, is if you could wish something, more hotel rooms is would help tremendously. So when we're competing for bids with other cities that are, have great downtowns or whatever, that's where we need a little bit more help.
Right. And of course the competition, supply and demand. And so when you have a low supply, you can have a high price. So we also need to always be mindful of our room price.
Right.
Because when you're competing against somebody that has 5,000 rooms, Macon, Georgia, they can drop their price and be right at that 100, 109, where we have 800 sellable rooms. So.
Right. But they don't have two rivers merging in their downtown.
No. And it's not nearly as beautiful. So, but, price does drive also. And we have to be competitive. So every once in a while, we have to stop long enough with going after the bid and going after the business and stop and go, okay, what are they charging for their conference room? How do we stay competitive?
So obviously you love what you do.
I do.
And which has kept you there.
Yes.
So just talk about the arc of how long, since you've been there for, how long was it? I'm sorry.
27 years.
Yeah, you say as you chuckle. Just the growth of Rome in general and everything you've kind of seen from your perspective, and Riff didn't exist and now Riff exists. That pops in my brain, but just the Rome Braves didn't exist and now they've been here a long time. Things like that. And just business and population and everything.
I think some of the most amazing changes have been the vibrancy and the beauty. And that's with public art. That's, of course, what brought me to Rome was the Arts Council. I was the Arts Council director. And seeing that has been such a welcomed addition, I think, to the greening of Rome, the reasons for the greening, the gardens that have been added. Of course, we've added 3 gardens to very, very, very visible locations. I think that, again, is the quality of life. So if all of the events, all of the uniqueness of walking down and seeing the different shops, and then, the restaurants, the scene, the music scene. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard for me, and I don't read a lot of social media because it's just irritating. But when people say there's nothing to do, it's because you aren't putting yourself out there to figure out what there is to do. If you can't look at the chamber website or our website and find something to do, then you're destined to want to drive. I mean, because there's always something to do here, and it's always affordable.
It's an incredibly active town. For
It is.
I mean, the Shakespeare Festival and
free Shakespeare Festival, the only one in the state of Georgia, free.
Yeah,
free art.
Can you touch more about like if someone is having an event, can they contact you, or how do they know what to do to make sure that their event, walk, tour, whatever is getting pushed out through you guys?
So we encourage everybody to call us because that's just the way we know stuff too. If anybody can ask for our help, because our help is free.
That's very important. People don't know that.
We're still free, and we're here for the locals. And I always try to make that point. The Welcome Center is for the locals. If you have something that you want or don't know what to do with your grandkids, come by there. We'll help you. We'll help you with thousands of ideas. Or brochures, or day trips,
or babysitting.
We love babies. We love dogs, animals. I mean, and everybody's welcomed at our centers.
I'm scared of babies, for the record. Take them to Lisa.
So we do want people to come. We want to be able to do the welcome gifts for them. We want to be able to put the welcome brochures in their hands. We want them to go on our website and put their event down. But reach out to us or help. We can help you find a space. We have a gentleman that I just talked to yesterday that is from out of state, and he wants to bring a big arena boxing thing here. So thankfully he reached out to me. And of course I had his phone number and I was sitting there reading his email about to call him. So it was like, oh, here we are. We want to hear from our locals. Definitely. So we're there to help. We're free.
So from the chamber's perspective, if they're putting Rome out there all the time, I guess the goal would be that some people that come here love Rome and say, I'm going to move here and start a business.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also supporting our existing businesses.
Sure.
So, I think so many people don't understand all the things they're doing behind the scenes to get a conference here or a sporting event. I think sometimes our restaurants and retail stores on a random Saturday just think, oh, we had a busy day, but they don't really put a lot of thought into why it was busy that day. And it's probably 99% of the time because of something that tourism has done. So, I just think it's important for our existing businesses. And then, if they see something, they want to locate a business here, we would love for them to do that, obviously. And then we also consider tourism the gateway drug to move here. So if they visit here, it definitely is a huge decision factor for people of maybe they visited 5 times and they are wanting to relocate outside of a larger community, et cetera.
And that helps our workforce. So it really is like a positive feedback cycle of tourism does such a great job. We get more workforce. We get younger professionals. That's an initiative that the chamber's taking. And then the young professionals go to events and support and get their friends to come. So it really is, we do work so well together with all our partnerships.
It's hard not to fall in love with we were just talking about some of the changes over recent years, the trail system, TREAD. Because you talked about the greening, and that made me think of the trail system. But you can be downtown and you're connected to the trail system already,
right?
And
the blue ways, the green ways. It's just it's magic.
When I was a kid, I kind of remember the feeling was kind of the rivers. There was a period in time where the rivers were kind of in the way. They were there, and the town evolved because the rivers were here, but then they were in the way. And every time a road had to be built, a bridge had to be built, and it was just expensive. But now, over the recent 10, 20, 30 years, the rivers we've made them an asset, and there's recreation, and there's trails and everything. And that's been an awesome thing to see over time.
Just taking something as simple as Jackson Hill.
Yeah.
It is amazing to go to Jackson Hill. The temperature is usually 10 degrees less. You see deer. If you're lucky, you get to see the buzzard that lives in the chlorine house, and because that's where she nests every single year. And she's a big old girl.
Oh, I need to webcam that.
It's really cool.
Put that on your list of things to do.
But there's all the connectivity that happens as well with all of our trail system. It's just there's so much good. When we did a branding exercise, and that was back in 1998.
Ooh, I was 1 year old.
You were just a glimmer in diapers.
This is normally where I make an age joke about Carly.
I already did. That's why I butted in.
Helping you out.
So we did it, and the guys they were professional. We saw their all the work they'd done, and they're like, we can't just say one good thing about Rome. And we were Georgia's Rome before that. He goes, keep it. it makes you stand alone. And I'm thinking, we're paid how much for this? They couldn't just say, oh, let's tout this. Let's tout this. It's so much that makes it up. Some of the, and I think it's very important. We do push the big calendar out to association members to let them know, okay, man up, make sure you got enough staff because we're about to go nuts. Some of the things too, and I want people to realize that tourism office is not just for tourists. So thank you again, Carly. We want to have the quality of life that everybody deserves. So that's one reason we wanted to do the chariot. How many people that ride the Roman chariot are tourists? I don't know. It's not the point. Mm-hmm. The point is something wonderful downtown that gets people from point A to point B back to point A. Or a lot of them take joy rides and they get their drivers to tell them about stuff. So that's fine too. The trolley, we actually run the trolley. Why did we pick the trolley? Well, when the trolley stopped being a trolley in Marietta and Atlanta dropped their trolley service, it was an obvious thing for us to do. We had not had a trolley in a long time. It was part of our transportation system, so they couldn't go outside of our city. Well, this one goes 150-mile radius. So kind of thinking outside the box for again, how do we keep building and reinventing the mobile unit, the mobile welcome center? That's fun to wheel up, pop it out. People can walk through, see the videos of Rome, meet people. We do things at the dog park. All the things that make Rome fabulous is just one more notch in our belt, one more hat, one more feather in our cap.
And just to reiterate, since this is a resource series of podcasts we're doing for the Rome Floyd Chamber, to touch on what you mentioned earlier, resource for local events, local businesses, you market for them if they'll reach out to you.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. And we, that's what we do. That's what our job is all day long. I want to go back to hotel motel tax for just a second. There is those percentages, those pennies are dedicated. One is dedicated to the operations, to the Tennis Center. One is dedicated for the marketing of the forum. And then the other 6 pennies are what is basically goes into creating economic development for the tourism part of what we do, building programs, marketing, building assets, doing things.
Okay. Well, great. Can we kind of go around the room here and get some final thoughts? Pam from the Chamber, as we wrap up here.
I think my only final thought would be we are appreciative that the tourism office is a good partner with us, and we're happy they do all the hard work.
No, it's a great partnership.
Y'all all do heavy lifting.
Yes.
I'm sure everybody's understaffed by you'd probably double the staff at both places, wouldn't you? But contact information, how can we get the Chamber? Carly, you want to give us the contact information for the Chamber?
So our website is romega.com, and again, the tourism does such a great job of posting their events on our calendars. So we do get a lot of calls from people outside thinking that we're tourism. So I do try to help them as much as I can, but I usually try to point them in y'all's direction. But you can always reach out to us as well. My email is kparker@romega.com, and I'm happy to help handheld anyone to whatever they need. So
we are old-fashioned. We still have an 800 number. So if you're outside of the dialing area, 800-444-1834, the year that Rome was founded. And RomeGeorgiaSpelledOut.org is our website. And we are there to help with anything we can. We get calls. It's so interesting. They can find us, but they can't find the Animal Welfare Service but that's fine. That's why we're there. And you walk into any of our visitor center and you will feel the love.
And apparently you can find a real map.
You can get a real map.
And great gifts. Oh my gosh, they have the best gifts in the welcome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're going out of town or you I remember going back to college and getting some things from Georgia's Rome because people were like, "Oh my gosh, your town is so cute." I'm like, "I know. Here's some postcards, here's some Risa's salsa, here's everything great about it."
We have over 80 consigners in our gift shop. So we really promote the local artist, Georgia Made, Georgia Grown. That's very, very important to us. And of course, I want to invite everybody to visit the History Center because it is free. It's the best thing that happened during COVID because we could close and move walls and rethink how the History Center needed to look and how the history needed to be told. So I would definitely invite you to come down during the summer to do that and go out and enjoy our parks. Just get out.
Right.
And you can always contact them about ideas like what she said.
Lots to do. Like you see, if you can't find something to do in Rome, you're not looking.
No.
And you're on social media? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Every platform possible.
Yeah.
Christy Kent and her team are just amazing.
Well, thank y'all. This was very informative.
This was fun.
Thank you.
And to everybody listening across the World Wide Web, as they say, y'all come see us.
Absolutely.
It's a great place to visit. It's a great place to stay. It's a great place to live. You've been listening to the Rome Floyd Chamber Show here on Rome Business Radio. We broadcast from the Hardy Realty Studios in downtown Rome. Thank you so much for listening.